Fine seating?
No, right?
Definitely food.
And I didn't. I know. What I said. This for me was physically and mentally the toughest movie that I've ever done.
So cameras are rolling and action!
But it was tough, but I love that. I love the fact it's a challenge.
Crew spread out over 45 miles.
It was tough in that respect. We were in 5 different locations and we're there in Pennsylvania in September till Christmas, doing a movie like this, But that's when you see, what I love is actually taking a different challenge in a different world and trying to capture it for real. And that's what we did on this, obviously.
I think the first out-of-body experience I had was the first meeting at RSA, and I come in and it's Denzel and Tony, and we're sipping Pellegrino's, talking about maybe doing a film together, and shook hands and we leave, and it's the moment you get in the car and you realize that you've just talked about maybe doing a film with Tony Scott and Denzel Washington. So for me it was, I'm living the dream. It was just an absolute honor to get a chance to do it. I can't even,
It's so interesting because it's like, I got super excited. The same thing. I'm like, I'm going to do a movie with Tony Scott and Denzel Washington again. It's going to be so great. And I laugh because this is the second movie we've done together, and in both films we only had one scene together.
But we talked much more in the other one.
I know, we had like our one big chunk, yeah.
That's right.
I wonder if you can help me. I can't decide which one of you two I'm going to kiss first.
Connie.
I have a real problem when I read a script. I just breeze by all the action and I get back to the scenes between the guys. So I didn't even think about it until it was happening. It was like day 5 of the grain storm and I can't breathe and I'm picking stuff out of my nose. That's when I think I really realized what I had got myself into.
I know when I first read it, I was like, well, why is the other guy like the hero at the end that jumps in the truck? I'm gonna jump in the truck. And when I saw that first train, I'm like, no, I'm the old guy. Let the young guy come through.
Action, the action!
What you guys read originally, that was the best page turner I've ever read.
Yeah.
Because I was the same. I flew through it. And then when we started at home, the characters started to talk to the real guys, and they told us about their first day together. The first day that they worked together, and they did that. They went nose to nose, so we took that first day and reverse engineered into the script. So all of a sudden, the characters became stronger, and the action took care of itself. So it's like got this forward momentum, and it never gives up.
I loved it when I read it. I thought it was super powerful. I think that was one of the things that attracted me to the script, though, is the story that's in it of the people who are dealing with each other, and the relationships are very strong and very provocative for people who are strangers to each other.
That's what always inspires me. There's always the characters I'm inspired by and touching a world, that I've never touched before in a different way. That's the engine of the movie, and the characters got honed, based upon Dee and based upon Chris.
To build that arc of 2 guys that are getting into a cab of a train that don't really like one another for their own reasons, it really has nothing to do with the other person. It's just the incredible amount of shit that they bring to that day. That was really tough. And it was a matter of, because there are little 8th-page scenes that you have to build, and if you're doing it out of order to create the
Where are you?
it was very
hatometer.
Yeah, it was difficult, and also then to find moments of being able to connect with the other guy, and that's I remember that with Tony a lot is we throughout the takes we'd find different colors to make sure that we covered ourselves so that when Tone got in the editing room that he could then really help us build that arc.
And it really is so interesting to watch a dynamic where there's not anything necessarily personal that you dislike about each other, but almost as if you did. There's reading it just comes off like there's straight kind of antagonism that's going on between these 2 people, but it has nothing to do with any personality or backstory, just literally your position.
Right.
And what the other one means to the other in relation to your work and how important that is.
I'm always inspired by the real world and real people, and that's what has always driven us as well, because we've always looked and tapped into a different aspect of your personality in the characters that were driving that story.
Which aspect of my personality is
In this one.
the afraid guy?
No, the guy next door.
The guy next door.
My process is that I'll never just jump from one movie to the next. I always take a little bit from the last and rebuild it. But I'm always trying to find ways of how I view the world, how I view people, and how I handle it. And that's what's exciting. Just to repeat yourself and repeat formula, for me is when I say it's boring, I am inspired to actually attack a different world and different people in a different way every day. So that's all I'm doing. A movie like this, an audience senses and feels when you're inside the real elements, you know.
What's our speed?
We're under 50.
The technology today enabled me to shoot this as real as possible. And out of shooting in reality, every setup there's positives and negatives, and I always try and capitalize off those negatives and say, okay, I should be doing a little bit more of this or more of that. But you get an energy that you can't get, you know. And me doing a movie on stage, doing a special effects movie would kill me because I get ideas all the time as you're doing it, you know. I remember we flipped the train, we flipped the real train. People wanted to do it CG, but honestly, it was cheaper to do it for real.
Really?
Because those trains were old, and it was actually cheaper to do that. You know, CG was very costly, and so it was hard
Did
to
you
do.
end up buying those trains?
Yeah, but Chris, those trains, they were on the scrapyard, and so all they did, the boys, you know, the effects guys, they put their own engines in, and I say when you see that flip, it's brilliant. So it's really hard. You look at CG, and even no matter how great it is today, it's still, you feel you're missing the heart and soul. You feel something's wrong. My mum always just said to me, she's 95 when she died, and she'd still say, that scene doesn't feel quite right. And it was always because it was CG'd or something. Because, you know, CG, whatever. Now this is, you think about Avatar, how brilliant it was. But still, in a movie like this, an audience senses and feels when you're inside the real elements, you know.
You had that platform where you had the round dolly shot, and you put the cab of the train in there. I saw this helicopter shot, and it came in, and it's super far away. You're on an elevated track, and then you built out this sort of, I think it was just on a flatbed, and then they put the cab, and you see the two of you in it. So it comes out from super far, this train, and then you get super close, and then the camera comes in, and I can see your faces in there doing the scene, and it was just the most amazing thing that you were getting all of that in one shot from the helicopter.
Yeah, those helicopters were brilliant, weren't they? Those guys were down in there.
They were close.
And not just where they were in terms of, when you see it,
it was an
not
effect guy, right?
just where they were, not just where they were for camera, but what they got with their lenses. And the lenses today, I'm in like this, and you guys, these going, they can't get me a close on me doing this.
So they got me picking my nose?
We got you picking your nose, you got and
Yeah,
Chris,
they had the big NASA lenses on.
they were right in there. I was lucky that I had all those toys to be able to shoot it as real as possible. So we had helicopters, had camera cars all running at the same time.
It's such an interesting way to shoot a movie and work on them. You end up 12 cameras rolling at the same time. And you also used a small digital camera, right?
Yeah,
a Canon.
cameras everywhere. Yeah.
A Canon for to get
Canon 5D.
tiny one.
That's a good thing, though, because what it does, it doesn't interfere with, I think, you can tell me, but I like not interfering with your process and give you as much leeway to do what you want to do. That's why the cameras are back here. And I'm always criticized of being indulgent, but indulgence is good because it enables me to do less coverage. Coverage is always, I think, is a killer in terms of when I'm going to come back in and do this and that. And rarely do we have to do that. So it gives you more freedom to do what you want to do and build off it. So that's why I like building those long takes as well, as I like doing with you, and the longer the takes, you find your rhythms and and I don't know how. I've never seen other directors work. I've never been on your set. They've been on my brother's set. Never been. So I don't know how other guys actually work. It's all got a different process.
It just gives you more options when you get in the editing.
Right.
It does, Chris. But at the same time, I think, and JJ works similar to me, doesn't he? Abrams.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So what it does, it also enables you guys to get long takes. You get, and I watch you formulate and build and shift and change and so that using all those cameras gives me all those options, you know. And and also I stay back. Yeah.
It's really interesting because I tried to have as much of a feeling for what you guys were actually doing because I didn't have any of that. I didn't even have the training that you guys had like training because you're really running on top of these trains.
That man was.
You didn't run on top of the train?
No, you didn't, man. I got the grain.
You hung off the side of it. You got
I did some hang, I did some jumping.
No, not cornflakes.
The fiber, like
The kashi,
it
the
looks
kashi
beautiful.
turned to mush. That was fun.
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm.
But I think we shot me running first.
Yeah.
Of me, anyway. You shot Chris with the grain.
Yeah.
You should actually had me get up there later. After we did that, the ending thing and throwing the punches and all. By that time, I was much more relaxed. You know, after you had gone all the way up, we had done all your. By that time, we could have gone. I was gonna bring it up then. We could have gone back and shot me running along the top. I was ready.
Down then. You were cooking.
I was ready. Yeah, I was good by then.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that bad. You know what was in retrospect was more the helicopter behind me because he kept getting closer and closer.
Man, they were right on the line of being.
They were right on the line.
And that one shot that we did when he was just kind of swooping in,
nah,
I was like, whoa,
brilliant.
whoa, whoa.
You got a vehicle out on the road traveling 50 miles an hour, the train traveling whatever 50 miles an hour, and then he pulls up in the helicopter and stops so that you can see him between cars, and he keeps himself right there so he can see the camera. Then you see him do this because he would pull up like 8 seconds before the tree line and then drop right back down. He was crazy.
He's got the best instincts, both those guys.
No, he was
they know
excellent.
exactly where the camera is. Alan and Fred, they know exactly where the camera is, so they're always in the right place. And then, you know, and the stuff with you on the top is blowing past you.
Blowing
then
past.
with Chris, he just sat there alongside Chris and down in that rainstorm.
Yeah.
Man, and there were power lines, trees, and he's like right by us.
Now for me, it's the scariest movie I've done in terms of my responsibility for somebody getting hurt. So every day I've got to work.
And nobody did, not a soul. Huh?
Nobody. Yeah.
I mean, the most dangerous thing that happens is that we lost the train, right? Towards the end.
Well, you know, did you hear about the guy when he jumped into the truck and he almost fell?
I know.
No.
I heard. My stunt double.
Oh, your stunt double.
Yeah.
That was an amazing shot.
He jumps from the train to the truck.
But in
slips.
the one that I saw is he jumps and then you see him slide down and his feet kick
and his
up
feet
on,
are kicking up.
Incredible.
And he said it's great. I love it.
I know, right? Only a stunt guy.
Yeah, right.
Stunt guys. It always cracks me up because you do so much to kind of create realism when you're making a movie, but then you got to make sure you wet down the street or you do something that's a movie trick to just give it that extra so it can really captivate an audience. And like that train, it was just like going 6 miles an hour, and it felt like the whole world was shaking. Then you start filming it, and I remember hearing you saying over again, does it seem like it's going as fast? Like, how do you translate that, the power and scale of this thing?
It was going that fast.
Because it was, you know what I mean?
When I was running up top, it was going 50 miles an hour. Like,
But Rosario, notice what you said, that in the end, I kept panicking and thinking about how fast I get these trains to go on this track. And in the end, once I started shooting, it didn't matter if it was doing 40 or 35, it's the weight and this mass, that's what you feel. So it made me lens it as I'm progressing in a different way. So rather than, I'd always make sure I got my wide coverage and you feel this body and this mass coming past you. It's like Jaws, it's like this beast. We should call it the beast. I feel it's the beast. So it begins with the beast and ends with the beast, and there's his characters in conflict on this journey.
and there you have it.
Thank you very much.